Hey, good morning, everyone. Anne Manera here. We are back again, Thursday, February 10th. Dogs in the background, clickety-clackety-clack. And we are here for another live color along. So, let's see. Had a couple of issues this morning. Technology, right? Good morning to Sharon. Who else is here with us this morning? Chris, good morning. How are you, my friend? Angela is here, and she's staying awake for us. Angela, let me tell you, if I had to stay awake until the time you're staying awake till, is it 1 a.m. or 11 p.m. for you? I would be like, oh, not so much. So I appreciate you being here, let me tell you. Heather Berger is here this morning. Thank you for joining us. I saw that you had a little bit of an absence of Facebook the other day, Heather, and I was looking for you. So I poked around with Chris and got the scoop and didn't ask too many questions, and she didn't give me too much information because you know how tight-lipped Chris can be. Anyway, I'm glad you're back. Sherry, good morning, Ann, and everyone. Good morning to you too, Sherry. Mary Hannah, good morning to you too. Good morning to Jean Mellinger. I don't know what is flying around, but something just flew. Good morning to Jen. How are you, Jen? Good to see so many old faces, right? Old people. Bonnie Miller is here with us today. Oh, Angela, it's 1:30 a.m. Oh. Thank you. Let me tell you. Thank you. I would love to be sleeping at 1:30 a.m. That is my goal. I spent too many sleepless nights in my lifetime in the past. So now if I'm asleep, it's my favorite thing. Isn't that crazy? I don't know. I don't know what, I mean, I don't really feel like I'm missing out on too much. So I just want sleep. All right, so this morning we're coloring a Grayscale coloring page, one of my all-time faves, right? And let's see, we're almost done with this book, right? So Color Along Volume 18, to those of you that have already purchased it, thank you to all of you for purchasing this book. This begins on March 3rd. And if you have not gotten the schedule from me for this book, then let me know and I'll get the schedule. I'll probably be posting it on the Just Color Coloring group too over the next couple of days. I know that I do need to kind of redo it because Jen said it was a little blurry. I agree. It's hard to see the dates. So, but today's page can also be found in this book, Architectural Beauty, Grayscale Photo Coloring Book. And let's get right down to business, shall we? I want to talk about a couple of new books I'm working on that I did not think I was going to be doing. But all of a sudden, lo and behold, it happened. So I'm just going to use this Black Widow Dragon pencil swatch chart on my behind my page. This actually is available on my website for free, the chart, behind my page right here. So this is the page we're coloring. To get myself organized. Here it is, right here. Get myself situated. Sandra, hey, good morning, Sandra. Sandra said mine came yesterday. What do you think? It's got a lot of good variety pages in it, doesn't it? A lot of cool pages. I always kind of make the cover a little abstract, different colors. I think this is one of my favorites because it's got a lot of color in it. But the pages in it are pretty cool. A lot of variety. It's got some grayscale. It's got some new pages. This is from my book Florals. Good morning, Mamie. So I think that we will have a fun time with this book as we usually do. So I want to talk about this book as far as when it's starting. I want to show you, give you a sneak peek of some pages that I've been working on. I've been drawing. I've kind of posted them on the Just Color Coloring group, and I'm working on 2 different books actually. And what else do I want to talk about? I don't know. I have a new website, by the way, for my paintings. I would love for you to check it out. It's I'm going to give you the link here because all I would like at this point, check it out. Take a look. Let me know what you think. Really, is what I'm really looking for. I had been wanting to do this website for a very long time. AnneManeraPaintings.com. Totally different look. And totally different look, right? So I still have my regular website, AnneManera.com. But this website, AnneManeraPaintings.com, is featuring paintings that are on a larger scale. For example, I have one that's sitting in front of me that's a 16 by 20. That's on the website. The prices are a little bit higher, but things like this is going to be on the website. That's what's going on at Next. This one was just sold. This one was just sold, so this gets shipped out today to somebody. And what else do I have? I have a whole bunch that I'm going to be adding. What's going to be cool about that website is that I'm going to be offering prints like this one. This is still on its board, actually. I'll be offering a print for this. Thank you, Heather. I want to hear what you think about it. What you think about how the site looks. It's a different type of site. So making some changes, I guess. You know, I wanted to do that. The other thing that I'm doing is I used to do website design long ago, right, back in the day. And I did that for several years. And then I kind of backed off a little bit once I got involved with the coloring community and started painting again. So I'm back to doing website design for people. So my prices are very affordable. So if you're somebody that is interested in a website for whatever you're selling, or you know somebody, pass the word. So it's more of a word of mouth, get a website. You should put your classes on it too. On the other website, well, the other website isn't going to replace my AnneManera.com site. So AnneManera.com is going to be about coloring books and classes, and AnneManeraPaintings.com is really focusing on really like bigger scale paintings. Let me see if I can show you this one. This one is one that's a 16 by 20. I don't know if it's really, you can see it on the screen, but this one is on there. So there's some paintings that the prices are really high, much higher. So there's a big painting community. Wait a minute, where should I put it, Heather? This one here is on the website. This is titled Meadow, and this one actually is $450 with shipping. Oh, just the painting classes on the website? I could try, I guess. Oh my goodness, I had to go from save the dogs over there. You mean I should put just the painting classes on there? Well, you know, this is how I feel about my painting classes. If you've taken a painting class from me, I think that you will probably agree with this. I push, okay, yes, definitely, Heather, I want to talk to you about this further. Angela says, I just went and had a look at all your painting. Yeah, share it on your Facebook page if you could. Get more traffic to my website. I mean, it's still kind of a work in progress, and I'll be adding an option to join a mailing list for it. And the goal eventually is to have prints be sold, and also I might have things be sold on products, like on merchandise, but I feel like it kind of cheapens it. So I met with a local library actually yesterday, and I'm just going to get started on this, by the way. I met with someone at a local library yesterday about having an exhibit there. So with my paintings. So I'm excited about that part, because you know, sometimes when you want to make a change, all you got to do is one thing. What do you think? That's what I always believe. You want to change something, you got to change one teeny tiny thing, even if it's like what you eat for breakfast, or what time you wake up, or I'm coloring the side of this building blue, and what it's just one tiny thing, you know. Maybe you eat breakfast with your left hand. Hey, Pamela. With your left hand instead of your right hand. And I think that one little change just kind of snowballs as a change. What do you think? Does anybody else feel like that? So eventually, that's what's happening. I want to do I have another in-person thing that I've been invited to, but I'm not sure if they're going to be having it. It's kind of like I don't even know what it's called. It's for like a school. They'll have some different things happening. And then, I don't know. I know that there's a few other in-person things that I'll probably be doing for another company. Libraries are great, Pamela was saying. Hey, Lynn, yeah, I didn't know that this library was doing this, and I happened to pop in there yesterday for information about something else, and they had this little exhibit going, and I started talking to the woman, and she was like, yeah, this is definitely great. And so I have to fill out an application. I've got to send some information, and it's shooting for like an April opening or something. But this library does a lot of different kind of community things, community involvement. So change is hard, but can be worth it. Yeah. And sometimes it's not the change that you're expecting. Don't you think, Heather? Sometimes it's like why did that happen? Because this happened, you know. And sometimes you have you make changes in your life and you do one little thing and you don't really realize at the moment what kind of opportunities or how much of an impact that change or that thing will have, how much of an impact that'll have in your life, you know. So I've done things like that, done things that I never expected I would ever do, gotten involved with them, and all of a sudden made a surprise periwinkle from that set. Yeah, this is well, this is Summer Sky, Bonnie. Like, all of a sudden you just do something and it's like, wow. Hey, I'm gonna zoom in, so hang on. All of a sudden you just make a change and something good comes out of it that you wouldn't expect. I've got to help Paisley here for a minute. Where's the other one? Oh, here. You take this. Paisley is burying, just in case you're wondering what the heck is going on in my house right now, but Paisley is burying a bone in my brand new couch. She buries it like in the seat of the couch. And now she's kind of like playing keep away from Scarlett. So we've got a lot happening back there. Hey, Sheila. So I've tagged a lot of people in the post for the color along. If I've missed somebody, my apologies. But sometimes, you know how Facebook can be. Can't be working too fast with Facebook, or if not, they, you know, flag you. Libraries are becoming more community-oriented. I agree. I work at the checkout desk and lead the book clubs at my library. They have an adult coloring class there, too. Oh, really? Well, you know what, Pamela? Send me a message, and what do you use for coloring pages for your adult coloring class? Because I would love to send you some free pages to use at your library. Yeah, you're right. They are very community oriented. Love the blue, says Barry Hannah. I know, isn't it pretty? I just figured, why not blue? Hey, if you can get this shared out onto your Facebook page or onto a coloring group, I would really appreciate it. Get the word out. I think that we're doing good on the Facebook color alongs. What do you think? I like the change that was made. The heck is that noise? Do you hear that noise in my house? Sounds like things clanking. I don't know what that is. I wish our library had coloring classes. That would be amazing. Yeah, I do. I don't know if they have them in this one I'm going to be working with. I'm not sure. I did a coloring class at a senior center before the pandemic, and it really didn't go over well, to be honest with you. Weren't very many people. You know, there wasn't very many people involved. Sharon was there. That's how I met Sharon. So, but that was, right, Sharon? Remember, there wasn't that many people at that. All right, so I'm just going to color behind all of this foliage, all of this greenery. You just kind of get this blue color down. And, I mean, I guess should I say like I always say, grayscale doesn't need to be outlined because outlines... Oh, are they just printing free off the internet? Oh, that breaks my heart. Send me a message, Pamela. I'm going to send you some pages that they can use at the, if they're interested. I don't want to be pushy, but if they're interested, I'll send you some pages. Let me know. Send me a message. And then this way they can use something that's like, you know, without copyright issues. But I'm glad that that's part of something for them. Do they get a lot of people? All right, so there's all that blue color. Now, this one is called Summer Sky. And I love when you take that blue, sending an email through wet transfer. Wait a minute. I'm trying to catch up with this here. Sending an email through wet transfer is so hard. What is wet transfer? I'm so confused. Do you get more people when you are on Facebook compared to YouTube? I feel like it. Yes, I do, Angela. We have 17 people watching right now, according to my little number in the corner. I try not to pay attention to that because I get a little nervous sometimes when the number goes up. I feel like there was more people. I feel like it's easier for me to share it on Facebook than it is on YouTube. I'm not really part of that whole YouTube color tube community. Like sometimes, I don't mean to be rude, but sometimes I feel like they're a little snobby. And yeah, so I think it's been better. I've had a lot more people join in onto color alongs that haven't colored in a while. So that's been very, very good. Pamela's saying the previous leader's brother-in-law was an artist illustrator and he taught us watercolors. Oh, how exciting. Sharon's saying, I think it wasn't advertised enough. I don't remember it being in the newsletter. It was in the newsletter. Sharon's talking about the coloring class that we did. Yeah, remember it was just like you and me sitting there. I hope Facebook doesn't start having issues again. Hey, I think that's like inevitable. I think they're always going to have issues. I think that every form technology is just like doomed for issues. That's my theory about it. But I was actually speaking with someone this morning and I said, she said, oh, I was having problems with this, what a particular thing of something she was doing. And I said, well, you know what? Just give yourself credit that you can even do it because, after a certain age, not that we're old, but, not that after a certain age, you should be proud of yourself that you can even do any of it. So that's what I say. Pat yourself on the back. Orange would have been great instead of blue, Jen is saying. We transfer. What is we transfer? I don't even know that, Sheila. Do I know that? I don't even know that. I'm going to go back over this with deep blue, just in some areas. And then what I plan on doing next is hitting it. Hey, Bev Larson. Bev, what happened to your keyboard? You're typing in all lowercase letters. Yeah, tech is great when it answers, right? When it works. Well, it's like waking up without, it's like if you don't walk around and you don't feel like you're in pain, it's great too, right? So I guess, maybe it's when technology's not working, it could be maybe it has a headache that day. Maybe we should think of it that way. It's having a little bit of a headache. It's feeling a little off today. Look how that really kind of changed right here as I add this white on top of it. Doesn't it look creamy? And you really don't want grayscale to look like it's more opaque. You do want to see what's between everything, like what's behind it. You want to see all of what the grays are popping behind. Pamela says, yes, I turned 60 in August. Well, happy birthday. And a bunch of health issues popped up. Oh, isn't it crazy? Well, I hope it was nothing serious. You can transfer large files through WeTransfer. Okay, now we know what that is. I'm still confused. Oh, no, Pamela. Will definitely keep us updated on how you're doing. All right, so here's this blue again. So I'm just going to go back over all of this blue where I colored Summer Sky with the darker blue and then go back over it with that white, okay? I was watching something. I follow these two YouTubers, Snow and Kurt, that live in their van and travel the world. Does anybody watch these two people? And now they're in Colombia. And they've been in Colombia for a while, and now it's become more of like just kind of seeing the sights in Colombia. And they went to this island. I forgot what it was called. I can see it in my head. It looks like it's spelled like the word gouache, like gouache paint. Anyway, all of the buildings in this little island, this little town, were all different colors, like pink and orange and yellow. And it's a very, very colorful town. And even the cars were colors like this. And I thought to myself, what a happy little place that must be, having everything in all those colors. All right, so I'm just going to kind of do this underneath side, right? And now I'll go back over this with white. Oh, Bab's back with her all caps. You're just not the same without the caps, Bev. Well, I'm glad you're back, Pamela. That's for sure. Yeah, it's just not the same without Bev with all her caps. I remember one time I was watching a live video with Johanna Basford from doing a live coloring. Was she drawing something? Anyway, I remember Bev made a comment and she said, "Oh my goodness, and there's Bev with all of her caps, and I know she's really not yelling at me, but just because her keyboard is broken." And I thought to myself, I can't believe that she remembered all of this. I thought it was kind of funny. Remember that, Bev? I thought it was kind of funny. It was the most adorable little island, Mary. And I watched these two people. They're called Snow and Kurt. And they live in this van, and they are traveling the world for 10 years. And they started in Florida, and they have driven all the way down to Colombia now. It's very interesting, actually. It's interesting because you see, like, places that you would never, ever see, you know? She always comments about your caps. It's so funny, Bev. You have made an impact on Joanna, you know? So funny. It's interesting because in their video, it's like you're touring places. Like, he does a lot of hikes through jungles. And I'm not going to go to this jungle. Like, he did this one hike that was, like, off a cliff. So it's just interesting to see these places that you would never, ever see. I mean, off the beaten path type things, you know? All right, so now let's move on to, I'm thinking like a brickish red door. Exactly, she is, Heather. You're so right. Let's do like a brownish, reddish, brickish color for the door. So I've got two colors I'm going to blend together. I've got plum and brown. Let's see if it works, right? Let's add the brown first for the door. And now I'm going to color each individual section. I'm going to try to leave the trim with that kind of like white color, okay? I don't know what this is. Could that be a door knocker for a very short person back there? I don't know. Maybe. I'm going to color in the direction of what this has at the bottom. And now let's see what happens when we put plum on top of it. I want it to be kind of dark so it pops, you know, it pops out as far as like a visual pop. We don't want it to really like pop out. Bev is saying, I guess she is Heather. It started with that birthday when Heather said, "Oh boy, somebody liked you." And I said, "Who?" They were just under 2,000 happy birthdays. I told her she created a monster. It's pretty amazing, isn't it? Imagine if she called you up on the phone. That would be hysterical. I think maybe, I haven't called people in a while, actually. I was doing that for a while. Got to talk to Chris. Remember Chris? That was fun. I was calling people for a while to thank them for a purchase or a free download on my website. I haven't done that in quite some time. I haven't done it because I was calling people, and then when the pandemic hit, I gotta say, people stopped answering the phone. I mean, I understand social distancing, but you can still talk on the phone. But I'm a victim of, or I'm guilty. If she called you on the phone, yeah. Hey, good morning, Donna. Our library used to have coloring. I just looked, and it's not on the schedule any longer. However, they do have a class that starts today. Mindfulness Mandala Drawing. Oh, how cool. For 8 weeks. All the materials are free. Says you learn about patterns, colors, shading, and Zentangles. Ooh. It was fun to talk to you, Chris. I agree. I'm in agreement. So what else is everybody up to in this dreary winter we're having? I mean, it's not that bad outside today, but cold. Some places are really, really cold. I forgot. Someone had posted that it was like -17. Oh, this is brown. I want brown here. It's supposed to be 55 degrees today, though. Isn't that weird? It was like really cold the other day, and now today it's going to be 55. In the mist, I really feel like I need to go head out and take some pictures today. Because the mist coming off maybe a lake or something would look awesome. I'm not sure. I'm going to leave this a different color though, right? This part right here. I don't know if I want to do it gray. That would kind of be a moot point, right? Or maybe it's blue. I don't know. We used to have some interesting combos, Jen says. I know. Heather says, I remember you calling me and I was impressed. Yeah, well, you know, the very first person I called, it was funny because... Right, let's go with this color here. This is called Sunkissed. Oh, this is a good one. The very first person I ever called was Barbara Roberts. And I don't know if she still colors or not, but she screamed. And she said if she told me that she was having trouble breathing because she could not believe that I was calling her up. It was funny. And every time I think I'm having, like, you know, this is a bad day. This is all like, this isn't worth it. And I get those less and less. But for a while it was like, why am I doing this? What am I doing? You know, 'cause sometimes when you're working with art and you're kind of like alone and you're not really communicating with other people, it can be like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this type thing? And when I called her, it was kind of a riot. She was like, oh my God, I can't believe you're calling me. All right, let's go with a little bit of yellow on top of this right here. In our coloring class, the leader played short videos about famous classic artists. Oh, that's a really good idea. I'm praying big time for no more snow, Bev is saying. I want ice. I want what's ice on the roof to melt before it starts again. Oh, I don't blame you. I don't blame you. 50 is where Jean is. That's not that bad, right? I think 50s is good. Fog this morning when I first got up was so dense. I know, I couldn't, that's what Sharon's telling me. I cannot even believe how bad it was. I couldn't even see the house across the street, actually. It was like a bluish fog. You know? It was weird. A weird feeling. Can you believe I got volume 18 ahead of time for once, Jen saying. No excuses. Exactly. Thank you so much for getting that. That was very cool of you. All right, now what color for this side part right here? This is like the molding on the building. I'm going to go with kind of like a purplish color, I think. This one is called Royal Purple. Because why not? Right? Why not go with a royal purple? See how white that doorbell is? I'm leaving it. I'm going to leave that as the white doorbell. Not going to color it is what I mean by that. This way, it will stay true to the color. I freaked out when Anne called me the first time. I would call you too, Bev, but I can't really make a phone call to Canada. But in my head, I'm calling you. In my head, I'm talking to Bev as I'm walking around. Besides, I always think of Bev with all the caps. We should just call her Cap. Should we call you Cap? Michaels has $65 big art kit for $19.99. I saw this yesterday. Pam is telling us different paints and colored pencils. Hey, I have a first thing I've bought in 3 years besides markers, etc. Oh, how cool. Oh, I'm using Farben today. I'm using Farben colored pencils. This is the 96 set. I'm sorry, I should have said that. Where is my head, Pam? I have an Amazon influencer account now, so I am an influencer apparently. But I have a Amazon shop with all links, and I earn a small amount of money from every purchase that's made through my Amazon. Yeah, I did call you, right? How did I call you, Bev? Did I call you? Now I'm feeling like I forgot. How did I call you, though? From the phone, or was it through Facebook Messenger? Oh, Bev, I'm feeling terrible that I'm not remembering this. I'm guessing maybe I'm having one of those, like, should I say senior moment? No, I don't have those, right? We don't have those. All right, now, we've got the shingles that are on this house, right? But I'm thinking that they could be a brown because I think it would really complement, the color of the actual house. So I'm going to go with burnt sienna. Facebook Messenger, it was. Okay. Oh my God, where's my head, Bev? Right? I'm going to have to go back to calling everybody. Just to chat. So I'm working on a couple of new books. That is true, right? I remember you calling me once. I almost didn't answer because the call came through as no caller ID. Yeah, because I have my phone number is through Google Voice, and I think it does that sometimes, but not all the time. I don't like when that happens either, Bonnie. Bugs me. I know, isn't it amazing that that you can call people in other countries? I should call Angela. We should call Angela while we're live. Wouldn't that be funny? Let's just like call somebody in the middle of the night. Angela's probably like, I'm never watching these call-alongs again. Angela is in Australia, by the way. Donna says, I might fall off my chair if you called. Yeah, but now you would fall off your chair? If you've taken a class with me, like a drawing class. Okay, Pamela. If you've taken a class with me, like the drawing class, Donna, then would you still fall off your chair? Like, if you didn't know me, you would probably fall off your chair. I know. I don't understand why it's a big deal. It's not a big deal. Depends what I say when you pick up the phone, right? I don't know. I'm not a big talk on the phone type person anyway, but it's worth it when somebody visits my website. So I just kind of I use this ginger brown color for the bench. And then we've got this kind of ledge right here, which I'm going to go back with this purple color for this bench right here, for this ledge there. And then I'm going to use that for the trim also. Now, the windows itself, see how they're white? I'm leaving them like that because I want them to remain that white color. But this is getting colored the same color as what was here, this royal purple color. Here again. And then this thing that's kind of jutting out, I'm feeling that should be blue. Should go back to the summer sky color. See, now you wouldn't, Donna, but maybe before you would have, right? Do that, and you can laugh at my accent while you're laughing at mine, right? Wouldn't that be so funny? I know, huh? Can laugh at somebody's accent. It's like the time I told people to call in and we would do like a, you know, like when you used to call into like a radio show and be like to win something. And I remember somebody kept calling over and over and over and over again. It was really funny, actually. All right, this is purple again here. Now this is really going to kind of pop once we get that green in, don't you think? Purple here, purple here. Well, people comment on about my accent all the time. People from Australia, Jen is saying I could listen to them talk all the time. So different from the South where I'm from. Well, that would be hysterical. A conversation between Jen, Angela, and myself. Talk about bringing a few different worlds together, right? That would be crazy. That would be very crazy. So what do you think? Do you think this is better with being on Facebook? Angela saying, different from Queenslander accent. Most people think of when you mention Australia. All right, so I am popping some yellow onto these windows. And even up here, even though it's kind of like dark, just kind of giving it a little bit. A little bit. All right, now let's move on to some greens. But I'm leaving this white because I want that to kind of pop out as white. I know, orange. Now I just say it more and more on purpose. I could say orange, but why should I now? Right? Why should I even be bothered with saying it? We're just going to leave it as orange. There's a coloring page on my website, actually, that's free for, that says orange, the word. You could color it. I used to have a t-shirt on Amazon that said that, but, you know, my Amazon t-shirt, that whole Amazon part is just not, it's just not doing well. I'm going to make this kind of a light purple. And then go back with some black. Now, see these two planters? What do you think? I'm thinking terracotta or an orange. Orange. Americans think we all sound like Queenslanders because of Steve Irwin. Do we think what is better? Do this on Facebook? Yes. That's the question, Bev. I'm sorry. Yes, this is better. Bev thinks it's better. All right, this is bronze color. It's bronze color. And then this part right here, I don't know who's sending me a message. Let me see. Yeah, I put it on YouTube later. Yes, I like you being live on Facebook much better. Thank you, Chris. I'm trying to catch up to Angela's comment. Oh, about the Queenslanders. All right, so you're saying that not everyone sounds like Steve Irwin. Do we need to call her? Angela, do we need to call you? And find out what the heck we're talking about here? Should I call you through Facebook Messenger? What do you think? Anybody else interested in hearing Angela's accent so that we can, no, we're not going to laugh at you. That's crazy. I would never say that. Should we call her? Tell me if you want me to call Angela. Angela, what do you want to do? In the middle of the night. Creeping, creeping, creeping. Yes, you need to call. All right, I'm going to call her. All right, let's see if we can do this. Whew. This is so weird. Okay. Angela. Let's see if it'll go through. Start a voice call. Oh, it's giving me a different thing. Allow. It's ringing. Can everyone hear that?
Okay, sorry. I can't actually see the screen anymore now.
I know. That happened to me too.
Oh, there we go.
Can you see it now? All right, can everyone hear her? Can everybody hear Angela?
Can everyone hear me?
I feel like I'm talking to Adele. Why do I feel like I'm talking to Adele? I think you have to mute your microphone on the video so there's no feedback. Where is my speaker? There it is.
Can everybody hear Angela?
Okay.
I feel like I'm talking to Adele. Why do I feel like I'm talking to Adele? Oh, shit. Oh, I think you have to mute your microphone on the
video. Everybody can hear you, but we can also hear the feedback from the video. So Angela's trying to fix that right now. I have to say, can you do it, Angela?
Okay, so I'm a bit delayed, so I don't know how to make it so I'm not delayed.
How do you get the sound to stop? The feedback.
Oh, holy. Bloody hell.
Bloody hell is what she says. She does sound like Adele. Thank you, Chris. I think your volume is too loud.
I don't know how.
Oh. Can you click on the video and turn off the sound? Doesn't it seem like need to call me instead of me call you. Let's try that. I'm hanging up.
Oh, okay, hang on. Turn on the video.
Oh, did it work? Angela? Okay, I don't know what was happening. Whew. I hung up. Okay. You will hear her through the call. Let me tell you. When you woke up this morning, let me just say, when I woke up this morning, nowhere in the corner of my brain, of anywhere, did I ever imagine that I would be speaking to anyone live from Australia. Did you ever think that we would be doing this? Yeah, I hung up. I don't know. We hung up. I don't know if we're going to try it again or not. We don't want to listen to that squawk box. But I think what needs to happen is while we're on the call, we need to... You can't say that the call along is not interesting, right? Okay. We need to have Angela mute the volume on the video. That's what I'm doing. That's what I do. I'm watching this on...
Oh, okay. I understand now.
Oh, you're still there.
Oh, I am?
Yes.
Oh. Okay, so I'm gonna... Oh, no, that's what I've done. I've actually, switched off the video. So I can't actually watch the video at the moment.
Well...
I'll see if I can get the video back.
Yeah, but if you get the video back, then you're going to have to mute the microphone on the video. But you really do sound like Adele. Are you sure that you're from Australia, or is Adele telling us she's from somewhere that she's not?
I don't even know who Adele is.
Adele the singer. You don't know who she is?
Oh.
Adele.
Okay. I think I've got the video back now, but I don't even know how to turn the sound on. Oh, yeah, I've got the sound turned off. Sorry.
All right, cool. All right, good.
Video on, no sound.
All right, so what do we want to ask? John's laughing. Everybody's cracking up. Honestly, I really did not believe that I would ever be doing this. Did you ever think you'd be doing this at 1:30 in the morning today?
I do have a tendency to speak at people in the middle of the night. So
do?
Yeah, but I didn't think I'd be talking to you, Mob. So I'm very honoured.
Okay, so well, thank you. I'm honoured to be talking to you too. So what's the temperature there? We all want to know. I feel like I'm doing an interview.
Okay, so Adelaide weather. Just let me Google.
I mean, we're all probably, well, it's going to be 50 today, but we're all kind of snow on the ground, ice, a sweatshirt. But are you still almost up to 100 degrees Fahrenheit, 90?
No, we're not, because because of the volcano in the Pacific, we've had a lot of rainy days.
The one in Tonga? The Tonga one?
Yeah, and so a lot of our days have been around 30 degrees, which I don't know how to translate that. I'm going to have to try and translate it.
30 degrees Celsius?
Yeah, 30 degrees Celsius.
I think that's 70 Fahrenheit.
Yeah, so not very hot at all.
Wow, that's not bad.
Yeah.
So did you get ash from that volcano? Are you that close?
No, we're not that close. So it's sitting around 86 apparently.
Oh, okay. So. Well, that's not bad, 86.
Yeah,
that's not too bad.
And so that's what the temperature's been. Because usually in February, we'll get weeks at a time where it's over 40. That means about 105.
Do we need to send you? Should we send you some snow? Should I send you some snow or some ice or something? Packed up.
Try.
Packed up, little snowman in a box, right?
I made a snowman once. I went to Tasmania in the middle of winter, and we went up to Mount Wellington, and I built a little snowman.
Wow.
So I could take pictures. Yeah.
Bev Larson wants to know if you have room for all of us to come and visit.
Yeah, I'll clean out my carport.
Are we going to get stuck there, though? Because what's happening with travel restrictions? Didn't you just have somebody that couldn't leave?
Might, because we did have a New Zealand friend get stuck here for 6 months. So there you go.
He left, though? The travel ban is listed?
He left about a month ago, and he's back in New Zealand.
Could you imagine? How awful, though, right?
Oh, we're still kind of trying to recover financially, because he didn't have any kind of income, and any money that he did get donated to him went back to his rent and his other expenses.
Oh, I can imagine.
Back in New Zealand.
Well,
so, yeah.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable,
it was
right?
a bit of a drain.
So does anybody have any questions that we need to ask Angela now that we have someone from down under on the phone with us?
What do you want to know about Adelaide? Pretty boring.
It's pretty boring. Well, what's like a popular food?
We have a pie shop called Billy's, which is like very, very South Australian, and they're kind of like spiced meat pies, and everybody loves them.
So that's
we
what
also have the best iced coffee in the world.
Oh, I don't know about that because I live in...
A single brand of iced coffee called Farmers Union Iced Coffee is so popular that it outsells Coca-Cola.
Really?
Yeah, so
wow.
we do have the best iced coffee. I'm lactose intolerant and I live in the place where we have the best iced coffee in the world.
I mean, iced coffee is very popular where I live. Very, very popular.
Yeah.
I mean, people drink iced coffee throughout the winter. It's not like a summer thing. But
no, same here. Everyone loves Farmers Union iced coffee.
Wow, that's very amazing. I'm trying to think of some cool, interesting foods that are known. Like, what does everybody have for food that's known that they're known for where they live? Like around here is something called hot wieners, and it's like a hot dog that's a wiener. Like that's what it's called, a wiener, and you get it like all the way, which means that you get it with onions, and maybe Sharon can help me out with this because I'm not sure if I've had a hot wiener in a long time, but onions, and then they make this like ground beef. Mary's going to be coming to visit just for the iced coffee. She said, forget Angela, I'm just going to go with the iced coffee. It's got this ground beef mixture that they add coffee to this ground beef mixture. And then they top the wiener. The hot dog type thing, and it's in a bun.
Put coffee on the hot dog?
No, it's not the coffee. Well, they mix it up. I don't know. Sharon lives where I live. Maybe I'm going to put her on the spot and see if she can get the hot wiener recipe right. But it's this whole thing, New York system wieners. And that's what we kind of like. People eat them like in the middle of the night after they've gone to a club. What part of Australia is she located? It's Adelaide, right?
Adelaide, South Australia.
South Australia.
So way down the bottom.
Oh, way down the bottom.
Not right down the bottom. Nowhere, like not Tasmania or anything, but yeah. South.
Sharon is telling me that it's the special sauce of the wiener. Boy, I hope people are taking this in context. But it basically, people like to drink them, have them with a glass of milk, or they eat them when they're like drunk, or it's like a big thing. Like I think it would just kind of give me like, when I think of it, I just think of heartburn for the whole thing. Especially like in the middle of the night. Like a 1:30 in the morning thing. Onions, mustard, and special sauce. That's what it is. It is interesting. Let's see what Jen's saying. My friend from there made some of the best meat pies, but not the same like the United States. She also made some square-shaped, like, sponge cake that's really good. What is that?
Yeah, Australia is known for its meat pies, and South Australia is specifically known for its Billy's pies. That's the brand name. And we have a Billy's just around the corner, and it's open 24/7. So it's like my son in the middle of the night, go get me Billy's pie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're so nice.
So what's inside this pie? Is it more of a meat thing?
It's sort of like spiced meat in gravy, in like a really, really flaky pastry with lots of pepper.
Oh, that is making me delicious, making me hungry. Sharon's saying we're also known for coffee milk and calamari. Yeah, coffee milk is a big deal here. Coffee milk is this, it's usually made by Autocrat is the company. And it's this syrup, coffee syrup you put in milk. People are just like addicted to it. Or lemonade. Like a slushy ice that's got lemon.
Oh, like a coffee slushy.
No, the coffee is separate from the lemonade. Yes, Bev's saying like a pot pie. Probably is like a pot pie. Is that the most popular food? And Bev is asking me. Let me see.
Probably.
Well, you mean from my area or from Australia? For Angela?
From Australia, like meat pies.
Meat pie's popular.
We eat meat pies like Americans eat burgers. Like you go to the corner shop and you pick up a meat pie for dinner. Like that's just, it's like very classically Australian, like all over the country.
Yeah, in Rhode Island, it's more like, I don't know, like calamari, like Sharon had said, and then there's coffee milk, and then there's hot wieners, and there's kind of like, I don't know what else. What other type of foods? Where is Alice for this color along? She thinks I'm always talking about food every time we have a color along. Today, she's missing out. I don't know. What other kind of foods are popular for you, Bev? Isn't it interesting how, like, I saw, did you ever see that box where you can get, it's like a subscription box, and it has, every month you get a different country's food delivered?
Yeah, I've seen those.
All those snacks?
That would be so cool.
I know, wouldn't that be cool? And you could just kind of like snack on all these, like, but then again, what if you got sick? What if it was like a weird thing? I watched this other YouTube channel called Grub Girls, and they do like food like tests, like they'll test food, or they'll do like food challenges, and they get that box sometimes, and they go through the whole thing. Oh, Sharon's saying pizza. Pizza is very popular here, actually. Shepherd's pie. What about shepherd's pie? Mary wants to know. Do you know what? Is that a thing in Australia?
Millie's do make shepherd's pies as well, like little single serve ones with, like, instead of pastry on the top, they put potatoes.
Yes, that's what we put on the top here. Potatoes for shepherd's pie.
So yeah, you can get little single serve shepherd's pies and pastry with, like, Yeah,
isn't it amazing? All different areas, right?
They're really nice.
Well, I have a feeling that you might be getting one of those pies after we hang up. I don't know. Bev's saying we get a lot of Indian food in Middle East here. Well, Middle East food. In Canada, where you are? What part of Canada are you in, Bev? Oh, this is fun, actually. I mean, we never thought that we'd be talking to someone from Australia. Sharon has a question. What types of programs do they have? Do they have Australian Idol or Australian Has Talent shows? Oh, good question.
Yeah, we have Australian Idol. The person who won the first Australian Idol was actually a friend of my sister's. So, I think I watched the first season, but after that, I kind of lost interest.
So are there any particular... Bev's in Toronto. Wednesday was National Pizza Day. That was yesterday, right? Yeah, and I did make a pizza. And Marianne said to me, you should put a picture of it. But I had already eaten it, so I did make a pizza yesterday. What other type of questions do we have? Jen says, my friend made some salt and pepper calamari. It was really good, and they cool different than from here. They cook different. Well, great. Jen is in Louisiana, right? Are you in Louisiana, Jen? Is that right? Do I have that right? Or Missouri? I always forget. Calamari here is cooked fried. It's a fried calamari, and then they usually serve it with hot pepper rings on top of it. Man, I haven't had fried calamari in a long time. Sharon wants to know, do you have game shows like we do? And is Susan Boyd... And
so
Mary wants to know...
I don't watch them because they're so boring.
They're so boring. I'm not a game show person either.
Yeah.
Mary Hannah...
My son and my house guest made a few weeks ago, or a few months ago now, they made something called gumbo. And it was so delicious. Like, they got a recipe from, like, southern US. And does anyone else hear of gumbo?
I bet Jen does. I bet Jen knows about gumbo. Sherry says, I'm from the South. We eat grits for breakfast and fried chicken at least once a week. Oh, I love fried chicken. Mary was asking about Susan Boyle, but Bev is correcting her and saying she is English or Scottish.
Yeah, Susan Boyle's from, like, Britain.
Yeah, I think she is from Britain. But I'm telling you, your accent does not sound like I expected it to. I did not think you were going to sound like this. You sound like Adele.
Oh, my accent's a bit of a mix because I grew up in rural Australia, but I live in Adelaide now, which is a city. But my mother's family are Aboriginal, and so every now and then Aboriginal English words will sort of like sneak in. And I know that if I do speak Aboriginal English, foreigners don't understand what I'm saying, so...
Wow, that's interesting, actually. What an interesting background.
Yeah, so my father was Jewish.
Okay. Oh, that's right, you told me you made this comment one time during the color along. We were talking about hot weather, and I laughed.
My ancestors like walking around in deserts and hot places.
In deserts. So you're not going to be shoveling snow with me at the next snowstorm if I invite you to stay with me, right? Yeah, it's okay. It's all right. I'm not taking offense. It's okay. Let's see what else is happening here. I love Jeopardy, Pam is saying. Wheel of Fortune, The Chase. Oh, those are all types of shows here, game shows here in the U.S. What are the other questions here? I have trouble figuring out if someone is an Aussie or a Brit or from South Africa.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, that is kind of a blend, right? Kind of a mix of accents. I mean, I feel like where I live, you could just... I had to fill out this questionnaire the other day for my niece who was doing a school project, and it was interesting because it was a project she was doing about an actress that was, what was it from? Oh, Hattie McField. She started Gone with the Wind, and the whole thing was about racism, and it was all for Black History Month here in the U.S. And anyway, she asked me if I ever experienced it, and I said, kind of, because sometimes I'm in a room or I'm in a store and I am the minority. So a little bit, yeah, but not like Hattie McField did. I mean, not to the extent. But she was actually surprised that was my response. How did she come across? Oh, Sharon has another question. Sharon is our resident Oprah. How did she come across your coloring group? Yes, that's a good question.
Okay,
Do I know the answer to this?
In a group called All About Colouring Supplies, you posted one of your pictures, and I just fell in love with it, and I thought it was great. And then I saw pictures of your dog.
Well, they always get you. Those two dogs. Now they're finally being quiet. I know. They win people over. They're adorable. All right, so, while you're on the phone, let's talk about...
yours,
What's that?
I was looking for something like yours because I've become more disabled. I don't like the really, really detailed, intricate pictures anymore because I have RSI and I have fibro, my eyesight's going bad, and I have ADHD, and so my concentration isn't great. And so I was looking for stuff, but I really like folk art sort of things, and I saw your stuff and I'm like, oh, this is great. This is exactly what I want.
Well, that's so good to hear. Look at Sharon. It's always the dogs. They are magnets. Well, speaking of dogs, let's look at this actually. So I'm working on these two books. Okay? So I'm working on these two books. One of them, I always draw a couple of books at a time because then I start to get bored with what I'm drawing. All right, so what do I have here? So one of them is a mushroom book. I guess I'm going to call it Shrooms. Dawn had said, ooh, Shrooms. I was like, oh my God, what a great name. So it'll probably be called Shrooms. So these are just like my sketches for it, and then I'll have to ink them. Here's another one. It's going to be kind of like a mushroom type frenzy style book. Another one just in pencil that I'll ink. Here's one that's been inked. And of course I'm drawing this, right? And I use this particular drawing pen, and I have like 2 pens left, and I'm like, oh my God, now I need to order more pens. So the place I ordered them from, they were out of stock. So I ended up ordering from some new place. Let's hope it was okay for me to do this because I don't know. This is one of them that's complete.
Oh, I love
that. I have to see if the video is keeping up with me. Okay, it is. Yeah, so this is one of them that's complete. And then, all right, so that's the first book I'm working on. That'll be a coloring book. Then I've been working on this. And I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this. So, do you all have snag/sausage a lot? She said when she was here, it's homemade and way better seasoned. That's a question from Jen.
Yeah, we have a lot of what we call sausage sizzles.
Sausage sizzles, okay.
Sausage sizzles. And you go somewhere and you get a sausage and a piece of bread and onions and you pay a couple of dollars. And so whenever you go to the hardware store, there's always a sausage sizzle running to raise money for charity. Like, just lots of different places will just, like, have pop-up sausage sizzles.
All right, so at the hardware store, they're selling sausage.
Yeah, and they're great.
Okay. Hey, I guess, right? Love, love, love the doggies. Thank you, Pam. All right, so this one, let's talk about this book. I need to get some feedback from you guys because these are some... I just started one night. I hadn't been drawing in a while. I don't know if anybody knew this, but I had not drawn anything since I did my dogs and puppies and cats and kitties coloring books. So for like the whole month of January, I was like in a slump of drawing, which was weird. I was like, I don't think I can do this anymore. I felt like I could not think of anything else to draw. So finally, I kind of took a break, started doing some other stuff. I mean, I paint all the time anyway, but I just kind of like, just didn't draw anything. And then I just kind of started like doodling around, and these little characters started coming out because I decided that I just need to draw what I love. So I started drawing dogs. So this one has dogs and some cats. See, there's a little cat up there with some stripes. And then there's more little dogs here. So I started drawing this similar to like the Little Boxes book or my Tiny Houses book. So they were all inside these little boxes. So I don't know if this is going to be a coloring book with all these dogs because there's a lot of dogs and cats. Or if it's going to be a different type of book / coloring book where it would either be like a story that is told, or I posted about asking if your dog or cat could talk, what type of wisdom would they share with the world? So
I know what my cat would say.
what would your cat say?
I really can't say it because it involves a lot of swear words.
Oh, well then don't, because we'll get bleeped, I'll get banned. But then again, maybe they're not swear words in the US, so I don't know.
I promise that. The thing is, Australians swear way, way, way more than Americans do. And I wasn't aware of this until I asked an American friend, and I said, do Australians swear more? And he goes, oh yeah. And I'm like, yeah, we do.
See that?
Word.
Well,
I'm
unless you live...
really careful when I'm speaking to you, because I know Americans get offended at them.
It wouldn't offend me. I've had weird things said to me. It wouldn't really offend me, but I know what you're talking about. But then again, I'm like in the area where people can really be very, very rude. So it's like, I mean, I'm like that corner of like the New... I mean, if you were in New York, people usually say that you're kind of rude. But I'm kind of like in that corner of all of it. You know, people are still rude around here. So I always say that all the time. Some people just are not nice where I live. I don't know what it is. It's like, I don't know. People are jerks, as they say. You know? It's like, what the heck is going on?
We don't say them in a mean way. Do you know what I mean? We just swear a lot.
Yeah, well, yeah. It's just making your vocabulary very colorful.
It really is.
It's okay. We don't think any less of you. Go for it. So anyway, love the dogs and cats you're working on, and the shrooms too, Mamie saying, thank you so much. Jennifer says, this reminds me of the cartoons from the newspaper. Well, it's funny you should say that, because when I was starting to do this, that's when I started thinking about things that my dogs would say. And the other day, I had classical music on for my dogs. This is where this all started. Every time I leave the house, I always play music for my dogs. They listen to, Alexa. And I always tell her, I hope she doesn't start doing this, tell her to play music for the dogs. Oh, she's listening to me. Anyway, I always tell her to play music for the dogs, and they always listen to classical music. So the other day I was with my mom and we were leaving the house, and she said to me, I can't believe they have their own music. I said, well, she's like, what are they listening to now? I said, I think that's some sort of opera. So they say that when you play music for a baby, you play classical music, it really raises their intelligence. Has anyone else ever heard this?
Yeah, I used to play music for Jordan when he was a baby.
Okay, so she said to me, my mom's comment back to me was, do they really need to be any smarter? Because sometimes... She said, what are you doing to them? Because sometimes they are just like, are you going to talk? So, anyway, so then I started thinking, what would they say? What would be their words of wisdom? My Alexa liked your voice, Donna. She was flashing. We'll have to call her Big A. She's just going to be Big A from now on. Sharon is saying it's just the norm where you are. I worked with some people who use swear words as their normal conversations. Yeah, I have a couple of friends that do that, actually. And it's like...
Yeah, and everyone does that here. Like, just everyone. Like, one of my friends has American parents. And, like, I'll, like, drop in the occasional shit or crap, and she'll just like, shh, you can't say that in front of my mum and dad. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Like, they're swear words, and I'm like, are they?
Well, I mean, look at all the coloring books that are curse words, swear word coloring books. They're the most popular coloring books out there. You know, I've never done a book like that, and I just never will, because it's just not, it would never fit in with, like my whimsical style of coloring books, so I would never do that. But, I mean, plus... It's past, like that whole thing is past.
I think like some of the words are a bit gross.
Yeah.
But like I do have one that says, you are effing awesome and stuff like that. And I'm quite okay with that one. But some of the words
some of them are pretty bad. Some of them are pretty bad. It's like, oh my God, what are you doing? So I'm not sure if these things are going to be. Pam just said put like bubbles above them, and people could write in what their dogs would say. But I'm kind of thinking it might be more of like a coloring book / here you color all these little dogs. Maybe not all of these on one page, and then there'd maybe be some little words that would say like whatever someone's dog or cat might say, the wisdom that they would impart. I have a feeling that my dogs might say, this cannot be the last one, because, and Sharon's probably cracking up right now, or anybody else that is used to me hearing me say that, I always have biscuits with me, and while I'm doing a live video. Matter of fact, there's 2 biscuits in my pocket right now, and every time I give them a biscuit, when it gets to the point of like, that's it, I always say, this is the last one. Or then I say, the kitchen is closed. So, but they don't really think I think they think the last one means there's another one. Donna is saying, my cat would get up and leave his perch whenever I sang, and here I thought she was in for a treat with marmalade or some Stevie Nicks. Maybe she was being your audience. Paisley loves when I sing to her. She actually sits there. She's my audience. I wouldn't sing in public, though, let me tell you. Fur baby tiny boxes is what Mamie's saying, and Sharon said I should call this, what did you say, kennel tails? Is that what you had said? Kennel tails. Yeah, I don't know. I want to do something different with this, and I want to turn it into some sort of like actual book. Whether it's like not really a kid's book, but some sort of book that we can all relate to even as adults. Does this make sense?
Yeah.
I guess I'll have to clean something so I can get my thoughts in order. You know?
You could probably get some, like, just asking, like, a Facebook post.
Yeah.
Like, what you think your animals would say. I mean, my dog, if you asked him about anything, his response to everything would just be, I'm a dog, because he was really stupid.
Really? That's what his response would be? I think that,
whereas my cat would go, I don't care about your human values, go away. Except he'd use more colourful language.
Oh, well then. Swearing Cats. That's a book right there. Swearing Cats. You know?
It's crazy. I have a book with swearing cats.
You do? Oh, doggy daycare antics, Pamela's saying. Right? I mean, there could be a whole little story going on. Because once my characters are in here, once all these little characters are all drawn, then I scan this into the computer, and then I can extract each one of these little characters out and turn it into a different book. So it doesn't all have to be here. Donna says, our one cat's name is Bo. We call him Bobo, and he says, it's Boju One Bo. Is that what he tells you back? The tales of cats and dogs. It could be his whole little, or secrets of my human would be interesting. They could all give, humans the secrets of the human because they know everything. I always want to think to myself, you better not be able to tell my secrets, right? Because who knows what they would say. So I'm going to keep working on this. But in the meantime, while I'm trying to get my brain going, I'll just draw the mushroom book. I guess I could scrub something and clean something. I don't know if that would be a good idea. And that'll always kind of jump into, I don't know, get your thoughts going, right? Does anybody else do that? Anybody want to come over and clean so we can get some thoughts going? I don't know, D'Angela. All right, so I won't be doing that. All right, so let's see.
Oh, I like that one.
This one is Color Along Volume 18, and this begins on March 3rd. So this has a lot of interesting pages in it from all different books and from a lot of new books. So, and look how delayed the video is, by the way. Did you notice? As we're talking?
Yeah.
Yeah, really delayed. So this one is Color Along Volume 18. You probably can't even see it on the screen yet. And this begins on March 3rd. So take a look at this one. This one, hopefully everyone will be back here for another Color Along as we move into March. 18 volumes. I can't even believe it. Are they from the cats and dogs pics we sent in? Donna is asking. Oh, that's a very good question. No, they are not. They are not. They are just sitting there and I just did not look at any pictures. I just kept drawing. I just kept drawing a bunch of cats and dogs. I mean, I'm partial to dogs, so there's probably more dogs in here than there are cats. This one has a lot of cats on it, actually. But that's what's happening. All right, everyone. We need to say thank you to Angela. Thank you so much, Angela. This was fun.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, anytime. Any other time you would like to do this, we could do it. That's fine. We had a lot of questions for you. And, I mean, anybody else that wants to do this is more than welcome to.
Yeah.
I invite everybody to do it. Yeah, anybody can do it. It's fun. I mean, I'm not afraid of what someone's going to say. Besides, I can just, hang up. We could just hit the mute button on that person.
Sorry if I do interrupt a little bit. I am a little bit neurodivergent, and so I tend to get a bit much sometimes.
No, I am glad that you called. This was a lot of fun. I appreciate it so much. Yeah, we'll definitely do this again. It's more of a better spontaneous type little thing, don't you think?
Yeah.
Right?
Well, we should call somebody else next week.
Yeah, we
Let's
should
do
call
that.
somebody else next week. That's a good idea. Maybe we should do that all the time. It'll be like the thing about the color
We're gonna
along.
call you
Will
back.
I get a call? Right? Will I get a call? That would be interesting. It is. Bonnie says it's nice having you join us today. Hey, thanks so
Thank
much for
you,
joining
Bonnie.
today, Chris. I appreciate it. Okay, my friends, I'm gonna sign off. See if Angela can hang up. Okay, before. But imagine if like
Yeah,
the call
okay.
never.
Hang on.
Let's see if she can get her to hang up before we end the video. Thank you so much,
Okay.
Angela. We'll talk soon. Okay, so that was good. So that was fun, right? Having Angela join us. So we'll have to get this going as a new thing for Color Alongs here on Facebook and give people a call. Maybe we could give Chris a call and she can be like, I can't believe it, right? Who knows? Okay, so we are back again. Good, she hung up. We're back again next week. What are we coloring next week? Next week is the 17th. Let me see what we're coloring next week. Ooh, sloths. It was fun, wasn't it, Sharon? I agree. Complimentary colors next week. Okay, everyone. Hey, have a great day today. I hope you brought a smile to your face this morning and gave you a good laugh. And we will see you all next week. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a great day.